Hey people, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. Who can remember how long it's been since I've had this K&N filter in this air filter box on this 2008 120 Prado, okay? Gonna go in for a clean. I've had this actual filter for years, it feels like. Feels like 3 or 4 years, but I really can't remember. I'd have to go back and check the videos myself. Don't be confused, I had a K&N filter back from 2000 and wow, whenever, 2010 or 11 or 12. In a 1KZ, when I changed cars to this 1KD in 2014, I took it out of that one, put it into this one. It was in there for years. Long story short, then I gave it to a mate, continue the R&D, never had any issues, like many other people we know who use them. I was using paper, then I don't know, must be, I don't know if it was 2018, was it? I don't know, anyone know? Let me know in the comments if you've seen the videos. And I have only ever added oil. There'll be maintenance videos adding oil. But now it's time to actually, I'm going to give it a clean, which is why we've got the recharger kit here, as I demonstrated in a video that may be out yet, or it might not be, depends when I decide to put this video out. If I just let it out in order, everything will be right. But we're going to use this cleaner for the first time. And this oil, I reckon I've already used half of it, but there's plenty there to re-oil this element. So we'll just put that aside, just sort of show you those products using the K&N recharger kit. You have to excuse me, this won't be but I thought we'll get the filter out. I'll get you in here close and have a look. Let's get in and have a look, right? Okay, so as you can see, that's the dirty side. Well, why is it so clean? All this dust and dirt, this Victorian high country, and I don't see that much dust, everybody asks. Oh, why is that idiot in his Prado driving with the snorkel backwards? Well, is it really backwards? You've got to think to yourself. Anyway, you work that one out. We've talked about it in other videos. You can see a bit of a dry dust area there. You can see quite oily. That's how I want it, heavily oiled, right? You can see it's not even that dirty, to be honest. I mean, you know, just keep out of the dust. Don't block this one-way valve up, and then allow your pre-spinner to separate the air. That's what it does, separate the dust and the air. It chucks it out, and it comes out this hole at the bottom here if you haven't got it all blocked up when somebody fitted a snorkel and silicone the nuts out of it. Right, now, have a look at that. It's not too bad. That's why it's breathing well, but look, I feel like it needs a clean. So we're going to give it a clean, right? We're going to follow the directions. It's going to say, don't use compressed air and don't use pressure washers and all this sort of thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this. I know you want to have a look on the other side of it, don't you? Okay, all right, no problem. We can do that. Make that happen with one hand. Trying to hold this up with one hand and the camera with the other. We can make things happen, mate. We can try anyway. We'll make it happen sooner or later. That will. Come on, flop out. All right, can I put the camera down? No, I'm not allowed to. Fair enough. Come on, get out of there. At least you got a good close view at it. Look how bloody clean that is in there. Now, don't look at, I've said it before, don't look in there. You can see where I've sort of half wiped before, right? And that's my point. I've never really cleaned this properly. What you need to look at is here. How clean is it right there? Right there. See that surface there? Look at that. Go check out yours with your paper filter, and I guarantee it's got more dust on it there. Now, we know there's dust because I'm going to make it look bad now. We're going to go around here. Oh my gosh, look at all that dust and on the sensor. Well, this is where it's all ripping past with that oil and dust. It's very fine. It's really not going to hurt anything, okay? That's my point, right? So, quite often with paper elements, we see dust here. You're going to see a lot more there. Well, you're not going to, if you don't see it there, it's because you're not running an oil filter. Do you understand it? This is an oil filter. So over oiling it makes the oil stick, you know, the dust stick well to the oil, and the oil, some of it goes through and it goes this way. So it's going to show up the dust, okay? So this is a lot, as much as it looks worse up there, it's better because the evidence right here, it's clean, okay? Where a normal non-oil filter, okay, it's an air filter with or without oil, depending on what type it is. So what we should do this time is give this a better cleanup. But do you think I'm going to? No. Just take note. I've stuck a finger's rag, you know, really quick clean. That's all I've ever done. And, you know, bada bing, that's what it is, right? So we know what's going to happen with the oil. It's going to get up here. So it's time. Why are we looking at this? Okay. Well, I've got to tell you, it's a little bit knocky, unusual knocks and stuff. And like 2019, 60,000 Ks is all this vehicle's done. I'll just get it right in my head. Yeah, about 60,000 Ks is all it's done since mid 2019. That's the age of these injectors. So hasn't done a lot of Ks. You know, we've got a number of vehicles. It's still a fair few for some. It still averages, what, 15,000 Ks a year, something like that. 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, pretty good, not bad. Now, especially when you're doing, you know, Ks in other cars as well. But look, at the end of the day, it's a bit noisy. So I just put a new tank of fuel in it. I added some of the diesel knockout just to see what that does. I'm not sure if it's the fresh fuel. Could have been a bad tank of fuel, but it seems to have helped a little bit, but I can still hear it. So I wanted to clean this, but I thought if I'm going to clean this, let's just get this done finally, because aren't you sick of videos where I pull this out and just keep re-oiling it and put it back together? Because I am. So we're going to clean it, okay? Let's get to it. Now, there's a lot of arguments about whether these work, and I think it does say somewhere, oh, you know, not for off-road use and all that crap. And that's fair enough, man. It's a fair comment, right? But I've got to tell you, what do we need to use? The paper air filter element that lets heaps of dust through, even worse. You know what I mean? So this is the clean side of the filter. Look at it. You can't see it. It's just clean. There's no evidence. There's no big dust particles. So that's the clean side. All right, this is the dirty side. Mate, you just wouldn't believe it, would you? You'd think, hey, Anthony, all the dust has gone straight through your filter, mate. No, that's not what's happened, people, okay? Snorkel head backwards. Maybe that's a combination, but, you know, there's quite a bit there. You know, it's kind of hard to see. When you keep re-oiling, it goes red. Now, let's get it cleaned up once and for all. A bit dirty over this side. Let's just have a look. Like I said, I'm sure I haven't used this, but let's open it up and have a look, see if it's full. So then, trying to do it all one-handed, right? Oh, yeah, that looks full. Yeah, you can see, full to the top, right? This is degreaser type stuff, people, so just be careful of that. Don't breathe it in. Wear gloves and eye protection and all those usual precautions if you're going to do this. Now, the procedure is, this is what you've got to be careful and considerate of, okay? You want to wreck this, so you don't pressure wash it out. So you spray your degreaser on. They want you to let it soak for about 10 minutes, but they don't want you to let it to dry on there, right? So it depends on if you're doing it in the sun and if it's 40 degrees or if it's 10 degrees, how long you can leave it on there. We're in Melbourne winter, so we can probably leave it on there 10 minutes, but we've got to monitor it. What I like to do when I'm degreasing things like this, they say you can repeat step 1 and 2, and that is spray the degreaser, let it soak, and then hose it off. Low pressure water, you know what I mean? So low pressure so you don't rip all these fibres out. That's what will happen if you hit it with a pressure washer. You'll put holes in it you can't see, and then it won't work anymore and you'll have problems, and guess what? There'll be no warranty. Because when they get it back, they're going to see you've damaged it. That's not how it is. So they say repeat steps 1 and 2. What I say is just keep spraying it, right? And then when you wash it out, you want to push it from the clean side where we were before. Wash it that way, right? That's where you want it to go out, back out the way it came in, right? No point trying to force it through that way. You're going to wreck it. So degreaser soak on this side, turn it over. I'm just going to keep putting degreaser on. I'm going to use heaps of degreaser because I've already used, like I said, half a can of oil. So I'm going to use half a can of degreaser because at the end of the day, even if I use half of that, I've still got one more clean. That means I'm good for about 10 years, right? Because it came clean with oil on it. All I've done is oil it. I'm going to run out of oil before I run out of cleaner. So I might as well just get it clean. They do say these work really well when they're clean, and the key is once they do start to block up, they filter even better, right? Because you can see it just, but the thing is, it's not blocking up. That's the beauty of it. So it filters really well, and it also still allows the engine to breathe. But while we've got this crap on the sensor, it's not going to be given the right reading. So I'm going to go, do you really need to watch me do it? All right, okay, away we go. Okay, it's going to say shake thoroughly. So we've been shaking it, all right? Boring. Do you really need to watch me do this? At the kitchen sink. The old kitchen sink. Alright, so I'm going to just be spraying it, letting it soak, spraying it again. Smells like degreaser. It smells like the Kenco stuff to me. It's going to have the same chemical in it. Who are the chemical experts out there? Let us know what the Kenco water-based degreaser's got in it and what this has got in it, alright? Because it's virtually the same stuff, right? Let's have a look. Causes severe burns in the hair, sure it does, right? Anyway, I'm just reading that. Anyway, I'm just going to keep, boring, spraying that. And I'm going to be naughty. I'm going to get the pressure washer, but I'm going to keep it at a real big distance, like what I do when we do the radiators, for example. Like I might be 2 feet away. So pressure or no pressure, it's about common sense. You know how we talk about common sense? And I'm going to repeat steps. I'm going to soak this, soak it, soak it, soak it, keep spraying it, and I'm going to wash it, and if I'm happy, then happy. And if not, I'm going to spray it again. I'm going to repeat steps 1 and 2. Keep spraying and keep washing till it's clean. I've just given it a quick wet up from a distance. See all that dirt particles running out? So there's plenty in there. I've just started and stopped again just to show you. Look at that. Dirt just sitting there running out. Yucky. So the key message here is you've really got to let the degreaser do the work so you don't wreck the element, right? And you can see the thick areas that haven't been cleaned for years. Remember those when we first started to show it getting dirty, that you could see that, but you wouldn't believe the amount of stuff that's come out of it. Unbelievable, right? I can't hold two things at once, right? I'm not going to muck around and waste too much time. You're going to need to allocate some time for this, because really once you clean that filter and rinse it off, it really needs to dry naturally out in the hot sun. And like I said, Melbourne winter, hot sun it might dry in an hour, but Melbourne winter might be about a week. Anyway, CRC mass airflow sensor, while that's soaking, we're going to give this, it's on its second soak now, so I gave it a spray, 2 minutes, gave it a rinse off, because then I want to put degreaser more direct on the stub and stain. So I've done that. It's going to soak for a good 5 minutes or so. Probably give it another spray at 5 minutes and then rinse it off at 10, and it should be right. While we're waiting, just going to give this MAF sensor a clean. We've got separate videos on that, so you can search MAF on our channel or MAF sensor clean or cleaning, and you'll see cleaning all sorts of things. But in the meantime, I'm going to unplug that. I'm going to pull these 2 screws out, clean this using that. Nothing else other than that is a product we use, and you can use whatever you want. You get out and have a look at it. When the light's on it, it looks bad. But when you look at it in general like that, it's no dirtier or no worse. See, this side looks pretty clean. That's not the side that gets hit. That's what it should look like when it's nice and clean. This is the side that gets hit by dust and oil. So the oil's going to make it look like it's going to stick, all right? So not a big deal at all. All right, so what you do, you get your rag and you stick your finger through and clean around the hole like that. All right, so you bring it out. It's nice and clean there. Put a bit of moly coat here. Not on here, because it just gets messy, and then when you slip it back in, it'll just slip in nicely without wrecking this O-ring. All right, now we go clean it. It's the Toyota official way to, well, I can't do it because I can't hold it. I haven't got 3 hands, but bursts of compressed air is how you clean it, is the official Toyota way to clean it. Okay, that would mean you've got to clean that, but you've also got to clean, see in there, don't forget those little bits and pieces. Don't stick things up there and damage those. Just be very careful, okay? Bada bing, very careful. Now, it's only up one side, but you spray in each way, compressed air, blow it, try and make sure it's clean, and Bob's your uncle. As I turn that way, I go, look at that, got the shakes a little bit. Depends which I hold. It must be getting old. Look at that, eh? Look at that, as I'm sort of can't move smoothly. Mate, the old man, he's getting old. Look at that, crazy. I just haven't noticed it. As I try and turn my hand slowly that way, oh, crazy, getting old. At least if I can do this smoothly. Hold your finger still. Yeah, not bad. At least I'm holding the camera still. I could be going like this. Right, yeah, so some things are still working. Don't you worry, mate. Everything's fully functional. Mate, I could teach you a few things, mate. Nice and smooth, fully functional here. Look at that, see? Good hand. Right hand's good, left hand's good. Both hands work. Let's get that MAF sensor, put it back in. It's nice and clean. Put it in when it's clean. Don't put it in when it's dirty. All right, so nice and gently back in there. Need to get that plug out of the way. I need another hand. Camera goes down. You know what I'm doing. Don't over tighten these, because people did. By 196,000 kilometres, though, all the plastic was already ripped out of these. So I've got some oversized screws in there. So that's clean. They're back in. That's plugged in. Let's go and give that air filter another rinse off. I've just given this the second rinse off, and it's amazing how much dirt just came out and washed down here. It was just dirt, but there was dirt from the last, I reckon, 4 or 5 years. However old this filter is, 100%. You look at it, look, you can even still see where there's build up on there still, right? Where it's thick at that main part where the air goes through. So, you know what's going to happen, yeah? I'm going to give it a third hit. I'm cleaning about 4 or 5 years worth of heavy. It's amazing. You couldn't see it. Didn't we look at it and go, mate, that's clean, that's clean? Guess what? Well, it was a little bit dirty, right? No, it was filthy. But I've seen it a lot dirtier. I had one that was built up in the 1KZ. It was in the 1KZ Prado. It was about 8 mil thick, I reckon. More than 5, less than 10. Dirt, debris, snorkel facing forward, people. Clean one day, 2 weeks later, filthy. 2 weeks in Tassie. It was layered deep with dirt, debris, things off trees and dirt and dust from rally driving behind GQ patrols, and it was just absolutely the dirtiest filter I've ever seen. The engine was still breathing, not blowing smoke. How awesome is that? So for the record, 3 really good cleans. A third one's soaking now. I reckon it's still got 2/3 full in it, I reckon. Even more. So yeah, just a pump spray, but a bit slow, but I gave it a good soak. While it soaks, what I'm going to do is spend about 2 minutes. No, I'm not going to pull the whole top of the box off and go and take the sensor out again and go and wash it. It's clean enough. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hand in there with this clean rag I got here. Yep, there's a rag there, it's clean. And I'm going to stick my fingers in around that grate there, clean that up. I'm going to clean around a little bit more in these holes maybe, for as long as I can be bothered. I'm going to give this a good wipe that's already clean, and I'm going to wipe all the ceiling perimeter, and then I'll wipe out the bottom part of the box last, and I'm not worried about that, so I'm only going to go down about 1 inch or so down the sides. You'll see, I'll show you in a minute. All right, 3 minutes, that's it. There's only a certain amount of time in the day, and you know what? I could clean this for hours, right? And I could have pulled the whole thing out like you wanted me to, but you know what? It's just going to get dirty again. Like I said, relatively clean there. You can see a bit sloppy around the edges. There's a bit of dust there. Like I said, I wasn't sticking the fingers all the way into clean there, because, yeah, and it looks bad because the light's shining on it and because of the oil. But I'm telling you now, you've got to judge it by what's going on right here. Whoop, there you go. That's what happens when you drop that. But, you know, hope you got a good view. Bada bing. You can see those clean where I put my fingers, you know, quick wipe, you know, along all those bits there, you know, more or less, you know, give you a good look. So when you see the next video, you know what got cleaned, right? See what I mean? I might do a little bit more in that corner there. All right. Yeah, that corner there will get a little bit more. And then, obviously, I've got to keep washing. I've got to let it dry before I can re-oil it. So I don't even know if I can oil it in this video. But we've got other videos showing you how to oil it. Gently spray it on like spray painting till you see it go nice and red. You don't really want it. If you're not going to go off-road a lot, you don't need to put as much oil. Just make sure you've got a covering, a thin covering. A light covering's good, but I'm just crazy because when I go off-road, I want that oil to pick up all the dirt, so I'll hit it again and again and again without cleaning it, because I believe it works really well, and I believe I've got evidence here of it works really well. Although some people probably left the video already and they don't care. They can put it in the comments, oh yeah, that's bad, look at all the dust that's getting through. And I'll say, well mate, come and hang around in the workshop and have a look at these dusty air filters at 30,000 k's of cars that have hardly ever been off-road, and there's heaps more dust right there. So anyway, bada bing, keep watching, subscribe, turn the bell on. We might continue the video. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you want, subscribe. If you don't like, don't subscribe, whatever. This could be the end of the video, or there might be a bit more yet. So why am I always allowed to break all the rules? Because it said not to, you know, light water, and why can I use a pressure washer, right? Well, it's not, things are not perfect here, as you can see. You can see, it's in the end there. You can still see the oil along the bottom right at that end there, but it's good enough, right? It's had 3 washes, 3 soaks. It's that much dirt and dust has come out of it. It's going to be so close to clean, it's not funny. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the rules even more, like using the pressure washer, and I'm going to use compressed air to get some of this water out. First, I'm going to swing it around and get what water I can off it, just like I did using common sense with a pressure washer at a distance, not putting holes in this element, right? Not putting holes in it. See how good it is still? I'm going to do the same with the compressed air from a distance. I've got to know my compressor. I've got to know my airline intimately, and I've got to know my blower, my air blower intimately, and I'm going to intimately use it on this air filter and gently dry it as much as possible. And I'm pretty sure, see, this is all just dripping off, drip, drip, drip. It's pouring off still. It's pouring off my arm mainly. Let it dry properly before you oil it, people, and then put it back in. You know, I really like this to sunbake for a day, but in Melbourne we haven't got any sun anymore. That's something that only happens for about a quarter of the year. Yes! Not. Anyway, that looks pretty clean, right? Beautiful. It is beautiful. It's dry. It's dry enough. You could put it in the car in desperation. You could oil it and put it in the car. I reckon there's probably enough oil in that still, because I've put that much oil in it and that much dust and all. I've sort of done 3 washes and got most of it out, and the initial oil that it comes with is probably just about still in there. I mean, you have a look. Get in there close, right? Right. It's hard to see for you, isn't it? It's hard for me to see, don't worry, but what an awesome element, really. I'm impressed with them. This is what I do anyway, so I'm going to put it in front of some heat. I'll put it in front of a heater, not too, I don't want to melt it or anything, but, you know, about 20 degree sort of bit of heat, 20 to 30 degrees, heat, sun, fans, things like that. Think about it, people. Common sense. Be gentle with this thing. You don't want to wreck it, but you want it dry ideally. And then just, you're going to paint this side, okay? I'm joking around. It's oil, but you're going to paint it. You're just going to, you know, you paint. You know, you go, you're passing sweeps. You go, shh, and your finger comes off the button as you come past the end. Your timing is like this. So it's like this, right? Shh, shh. And you know what I mean? you know, it's like, you know, the old rub your tummy, pat your head at the same time. I'm not that good at it. Am I holding a camera? Yeah, let's try again. Shh. Because I did it slow, see? Shh. But when you paint, you do like this. Shh. You want to do fast waves. So on and off. As soon as you hit there, on the trigger, and just put lines, you're going to kind of go shh, 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 shh. And that's it. And what I suggest, what I do, I sort of paint it on an angle from this side, so you're kind of hitting that side of it from this end, and then I'll spin it like this and do the same thing, right? So then you're hitting the other, so you got each side, because you want to get it down there as well. It'll soak down there anyway. Obviously you've seen what will happen, and if you're really crazy, you can probably put a bit at this side as well, because after all, at the end of the day, whatever. But I wouldn't waste your time doing that, okay? Don't, is my advice. I'm not going to do that, because you know the air's coming from this side. So you spray it on this side, and we already know it's going to push it that way, because we've seen it on the MAF sensor. You've seen the evidence. That's why these videos are good, the evidence. What really happens to an engine that's never had an air filter change in 4 years or whatever it is. Hey, can someone please have a look through my videos and let me know when I said, hey, it's got to have K&N in the air filter or the description, or it should be easy to find. I'll even have a look myself, but I'll see if someone can beat me to it. We're going to have some more videos soon with these horsepower rotors going on the 120. That'll be cool. But at the moment, I've just got to let this dry. So maybe this is the end of the video. Maybe I'll keep waffling. Maybe we'll oil it. Let's see what happens. And wow, people, just wow. You know, I gave that a bit of a blow. Remember, I was gentle and all that. But look at all the water. Look, I moved it, and look how much water was there. And then I gave it a bang here, another bang here. There's more there, and look, it's still running down. This is just out of control. Bring in the towels in a minute. Check this out. It just keeps coming out. So the point is, don't just put it in and oil it. Make sure it's dry. Hard to tell when it's dry. So stand it up, as I am, and let all the water run out and let it sit in the sun. But some people are going to say it's not the UV protected, the sun's going to wreck it and all that. I think it'll be okay in the sun for an hour or two, you know, to be honest. Sun wrecks everything, keep that in mind, but I don't think it's going to wreck this air filter in a couple of hours.